But I like to weave this underneath here so that it's kind of like half over, half under the other skirt piece.
DorkLair!
Welcome to another DorkLair action figure review. Today I'm taking a look at the Mythic Legions Illythia. Wielder of the Soul Spiller, one of the four horsemen, this goddess type character is a 2.0 style deluxe treatment, just absolutely epic, worthy of the horseman status. You pair her up with her horse and you've just got a killer combo. I have her sitting on this rotating stand with the flight stand in this pose with all her numerous accessories. It's a really cool figure. Amazing cloth goods designed by C. Jessam. New torso, new head sculpt. Just a lot of fun stuff going on with this figure. So let's get into this review. And here's a look at the packaging with Illythia front and center in this wider deluxe box. We got to look at the character right there and all her accessories. On the side, there is a bio for Illythia with a picture of the figure. On the back is the artwork by the talented Nate Barch, and on this side, we have Illythia's Brood faction symbol. Zooming in here for a nice close-up of the details on this Illythia portrait. Intricately sculpted, nicely painted. There's just so much going on with that head sculpt. Look at that. Sort of making our way up here to see the rest of that head topper. There's a skeleton with more scales fitting the theme there at the top of that head sculpt. It's just crazy. There's so much going on in there. I'm not sure if the light's catching it, but you can see like serpent sculpted in there. Snake-like things, almost like a dragon kind of look going on. Getting a look at the back of it. You can see her hair down the back, which threads through the backpack piece here. The attachment for the arms is, her hair is sculpted perfectly to like fit in and be there. So that's going to limit articulation quite a bit. But pretty cool how they've been able to work all of this stuff in and make it fit together. She does have a separate necklace right here that is removable that has a little spider theme going on. And then a look at that new torso with the wrapping style. Her gauntlets here have some purple, some leather colors going on. Brand new skirt piece. Brand new, like, the plastic belt piece. It's got some serpents hanging off of it. Some like arachnid looking limbs, vampire head in purple. And I do like how we're seeing like glossy blacks, we're seeing some flat purples, but we're also seeing like the metallic purples as well. And then really one of the highlights of the figure for me is the skirt piece. The cloth goods on this thing are awesome. It's just so cool that we're getting these like nicely tailored pieces. It's got a nice sheen to it. There's some intricate stitching. There's a wire that runs around it. So you have this one piece here that is the skirt that slides on when you put the torso on. And then you have the loincloth is a separate piece, that both of which wrap around the peg at the waist. And then this black piece here is one straight long ribbon with a wire. And I'll show you how to position that later in the video and kind of put it all together and how I have it here. And then you can see here she does have the bare legs at the top. I believe these are the same lower greaves here, and then we have the bare feet, and her toes are even painted the purple as well. So very nice intricate details. And then we can look at the backpack here. There's even a little paintwork on the glossy black skeletal arms, and these are the same ones we saw with Okietos, but they were originally from this figure. So this really is the origin of those arms, which I think we're going to see because Necronominus is coming soon. I have a feeling we're going to see some 2.0 style skeletons, or at least one in that wave with the bare arms. Very cool looking details, just tons of intricate stuff going on with this figure. And now let's take a look at Illythia next to a few other figures. First up, we have her family, essentially, which is Baron Volgar, her son on the right, and her granddaughter Lucretia on the left. Next, we have an Illythia wave figure with Bardric, the elf, on the left, and on the right, we have the Headless Horseman. And here we have Mezco Conan on the left and Thulsa Doom from Super 7 on the right. Here's a couple female characters from other lines. On the left is the Masterverse She-Ra, and on the right is the Storm Collectibles Golden Axe Tyrus Flare. And finally, we have Illythia next to her horse Phobos. And here we have her on top of Phobos, full horseman mode with her weapon, the Soul Spiller. This set is awesome. For accessories, she's got a few things going on here. Her primary weapon is the Soul Spiller, which is a set of scales that acts as essentially, I believe, like a melee weapon with these spiked cups on the bottom. We've got metal chains here holding the thing together. I'd be very careful with those. They're very small. And you have this like skeletal dragon serpent thing going on here. And then this piece does come apart, so she can wield them in different hands like I had in the opening shot. And she's got 2 extras of these so that all the hands can have something going on, and you can have her like fully geared up and weaponed out, and these are on chains as well. And then she's got a set of these like elven style blades, which can be separate, or you can plug them in together to make one big long weapon there. And of course, she comes with a ton of stuff that's removable. She's got that necklace, she's got the backpack piece with all the arms, she has her cloth goods, like all that stuff could almost be considered accessories. She just comes with a lot of stuff. And finally, for articulation, if you're familiar with 2.0 Mythic Legion's slimmer bodies, then you're familiar with the articulation on her. However, she has so much going on in this area that her head is just not going to get a lot of range of motion. You get a little bit because the hair is somewhat soft, but you know, you can turn side to side a little bit with the thing on, and she can look down, but she's just not going to be able to look up with that backpack going on there and with all that hair and stuff. Can cock side to side a little bit, but yeah, it's going to snap back because the hair is kind of pulling it back. For the arms, the first 2 of the 6 that are actually attached to her body, these are the flesh arms. She can come up to almost a T pose there, and she can swing her arm all the way up and down. Single jointed elbow comes up to about 90 degrees. There's a twist at the elbow. There's a twist at the gauntlet. The wrist can twist, and then that has a horizontal hinge. And then I removed the backpack so that you can kind of see the assembly here. You just have 4 arms, and they just peg into these holes here. And it's a nice tight fit. So I don't really feel like the arms are going to fall off or anything like that. They do have the same articulation as her main arms, hinge and swivel at the shoulder. You have a hinge and swivel at the elbow, and then same thing at the wrist with the horizontal hinge. There's 2 different hands, so we have gripping hands on 2 of the arms, and we have an open hand on the other arm. And I like to use this one to hold the Soul Spiller, because the Soul Spiller has this like very thick piece where it attaches in the middle. The open hand is nice for that. You just have to kind of balance it there. It doesn't actually grip it firmly. Or you could do like a 2-hand and have a regular hand gripping on each side. And for the 2.0 style figures, if you're not familiar with those, there's an upper ball joint. This is much different from the 1.0 figures, so lots of movement there. It's like a barbell joint up at the top there. And then it's just a swivel at the waist. It's not a ball joint at the waist. It just twists. Legs can kick forward. They can kick backwards. With 2.0 figure, there is a swivel at the top. It's way high up at the top of the thigh there, and she can go out into the splits. Single jointed knee, and there's a twist at the knee, and then down at the ankle, you can twist the ankle, and it has a hinge as well. Now I'll just pop it apart so that you can see how I have the cloth goods on here before I get set up for a couple swaps. At the waist, it just pops apart right there, and then you can lift the plastic belt piece off, and you have all these cloth pieces layered within there. The one thing it does is it does kind of like shrink the size of that peg. So, you know, when you put the body on there, it does pop off a little bit easier when you have all the stuff on. The first thing I put on to get it set up the way I like it is to put the loincloth on first, and that just goes right over the peg. And then I learned this from C. Jessam himself, the guy who designed it. And this is a pretty cool way to put the skirt on. Now there's no right or wrong, but coming from the guy who designed it, I kind of like his move. So here's a loop, right? You just kind of do one loop, and then you have 2 pieces hanging. And what I like to do here, and this is just a matter of preference, you could go over the top, but I like to weave this underneath here so that it's kind of like half over, half under the other skirt piece. And then once that's on there, simple thing is to put the final skirt piece on top there. And then, like I said, all of that bulk kind of like shrinks the size of that peg. So when you're putting the body on, it could pop off, but it's not too big a deal. You just got to kind of really push it on there, and then you've got all the cloth goods going on there. Next up, a couple kit bashes, and the first one is pretty obvious. I took the skeletal arms and plugged them into the Vampire Knight. Now this head I would not use. If I were going to go through with this and make this a more permanent part of my collection, I would probably paint a skull glossy, And I really like this look, but unless I get an extra Illythia, I am probably not going to take the time to do any paint work for this because I just, I just will put it together, take some photos and take it apart, and it won't be a permanent thing. So probably won't end up doing that, but I do like the look of these arms. I think they fit perfectly. I did the same thing with Okiedos and his extra arms. But I also put the black ribbon on there, and I think that looks pretty good too, even without the rest of the cloth goods. I really like how this one looks with the purple skirt from Illythia on the Grisha the Slitherer body and the Zarya head. It just all together with the beautiful stitching and the ornate craftsmanship of the skirts, and then the awesome paint job on Grisha, one of my favorite figures, and the Zarya head, just bring it all together for like an Arabian Nights djinn kind of look. And even from the back, it looks awesome. I just love how that skirt has those extra little details, but pretty cool look here. And this is one I may try to, like if somebody's parting out an Illythia on eBay, I may try to get extras of the cloth goods from Illythia. Okay, final thoughts on this figure. Just an absolute home run from Four Horsemen Studios. I highly recommend picking this up soon if you can, because I know it's a really tough time of year right now. Just everything's dropping, but I wouldn't wait too long on this one. Retailers still have it, so there's no like panic mode yet, but if you want it, try to get it sooner than later. I think it's like $60. A lot of retailers should still have it. Not hard to find right now. And as far as its ranking in the wave, I still think Bardrick is number 1, but I'm probably going to put her at number 2 right now. It's a tough one. There's so many cool figures. I mean, you have the centaur, you have the other horse, you have the moose, you have so many cool things, Valak. But I still, right now, place Bardrick at the top, but she is definitely close behind. Thanks for watching my video, and until next time, may the force be with you.